In this tutorial, we're going to go over how you can create a new upstream pathway within GREET for use in your team's calculations. So in this case, I'm going to create a new pathway for getting conventional diesel, and it's really where the big changes are going to take place is within the transportation. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started on this. If I click on the Data Editors tab, it's going to open up this and it's going to tell me to select a parameter to modify. Well, the big change in my new pathway for conventional diesel is going to be done in the processes. I'm actually going to create a new transportation process. You can do so by clicking on the Processes tab and coming to Add Transportation Process. Go ahead and click that and you'll get this nice little menu. Over here, you can kind of follow along with the instructions that they give you. So first you're going to select the resource that you're transporting. Well, my conventional diesel is going to be coming from crude oil. So why don't I go get crude oil. Okay. And it's going to be coming from an Alaskan pipeline. So our transportation name is going to be crude oil from Alaskan pipeline. Let's say we're bringing it to a refinery in California. Okay. So here I can go to the wells and fields, and I'm going to drag in an Alaska field, or well. Okay. And then for my mode of transportation, down here are all the different possible modes we can choose from. So what that's saying is it's transporting the crude oil from this location via what mode. So here we're doing it by pipeline. I'm going to drag that in. And I'm actually going to have the pipeline, it's going to go down into the geographical, the US 48, continental US. And from there, I will have two modes of transportation that are going to bring it further into that California refinery. I'm both going to do it by rail and by heavy duty truck as well. These are both going to end up bringing it to the same place, which is just going to be, we'll call it the domestic refinery. Okay, and I can link all these together by just going on one of either the left or the right side, of each process and dragging the arrow over to what I'm connecting it to. US 48, go one from US 48 to heavy duty truck, one to rail, and then both the truck to the refinery and the rail to the refinery. This is a very simple transportation process for these purposes. Some of the ones that are built into GREET, feel free to go in and you can click on Modify up here to go look at other ones to kind of get an idea of how they go about doing it. Again, this is a very simplistic one just for demonstration purposes. So with all of the mode processes, you are able to modify them. So if we go over to the pipeline, I can right click it and hit Edit Step Parameters. Within this window, I'm able to type out the entire distance of the pipeline. So we'll do a fairly long pipeline. Let's go 2,000 miles. It recognizes units as well. And I'm going to leave kind of all this the same. And we're going to go on and click on Apply. Now I'm going to come over to my heavy duty truck. And here, the total distance that the truck is going to travel to the refinery is 800 miles. And it's taking a 20% share of the load. And the urban share is going to be pretty large for this one because he's traveling through a lot of urban areas, 65%. So I can come down to rail and do the same thing. Our distance for rail is going to be a bit longer because we have to go through a few different areas. So 1,000 miles. And the share for that is going to be 80%. And because it's going through a lot of rural areas, our urban share is only going to be 15%. Go ahead and click Apply. And now once that is complete, all of the necessary inputs for the transportation process are finished. One more thing that you might want to do over here is modify the amount transported. It defaults to 1 kilogram, but you can put in as much or little as you want. I'm going to put in 1,000 kilograms. And then down here, for the last part of it, you can click on output losses. Here's where you can put in how much you expect to lose from when it's during the whole transportation process. So I'm going to put in a fairly low amount for this, just to account for any mistakes. And we're going to do it with a 0.006% loss. Okay, and that'll show you what are the expected emissions from that as well. And then it'll tell you how much is available after the loss from the main output amount. Click on Apply to save those. And we're going to go down here and click on Add as New. What this is going to do is create a new transportation process with this name, crude oil from Alaskan pipeline to California refinery. So click Add as New. And now you're going to get a confirmation window, added as a new process, crude oil from Alaskan pipeline to California refinery. Click OK. So now that that's created, we want to use that transportation process. So we're going to go over to Pathway now. Click on Add Pathway. And from here we're going to get this new editor window, similar to the previous one. The workflow for this is that you want to choose what's going to happen before the transportation process. So you're first going to put in your feeds, which is down here. So we're taking conventional crude oil. So if I go down here, I can go to crude oil. And let's go to conventional crude recovery. I'm going to go with that one. So I can drag it up here. It's going to automatically put it in there. Now it's asking for some processes in the pathway. Over here, I narrowed it down to the different processes that we can use. So if you look at this one, we can find the one that we're looking for, so the crude oil from Alaskan pipeline to California refinery. So this will be our transportation process that we just created in the previous step. And now we can, so now that it's down at that refinery, we're going to want to store it. So let's put in a crude oil storage. I'm going to make use of the search field up here, crude oil storage. Drag that onto there, the end of that process. And after crude oil storage, we're going to now refine it to conventional diesel. Conventional diesel refining. From there, we're going to go to California diesel as our transportation. And now we're going to finally go to conventional diesel storage. So as you can see, this is a pretty easy pathway to follow. Down here I can create a new name for that pathway. So I'm going to name it conventional diesel from Alaskan pipeline. Okay, then I can go in here and I can click Add as New. Add it as a new pathway, conventional diesel from Alaskan pipeline. So now not only have I created a new transportation process right here, I've also created a new pathway that takes from conventional crude recovery all the way through the process down to diesel storage at our storage plant. So once all that's complete, I'm going to go up to Results, click on Calculate. This is going to calculate the results with the new pathway. And now if we want to use this pathway within Teams, go ahead and open the Teams program. Start, agree. I'm going to run a simulation here with the default parameters. And if I go up to our main fuel with the conventional diesel, you can now see that the new pathway, conventional diesel from Alaskan pipeline, is available within Teams. And if I click it, it'll show me the results that were used with this new pathway process. It is important to note that the only supported fuel types from the pathways you created will be available within Teams. So it must fall under one of these 6 categories: conventional diesel, residual oil, low sulfur, liquefied natural gas, biodiesel, or FTD. This concludes this demonstration. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, sln7755@rit.edu. Also, if you need any more additional help with creating and adding new pathways or processes, that's all very well laid out in the Greet user guide that's available from the Greet website from Argonne Labs. You can get there online.